Who wrote Romeo and Juliet? How many wives did King Henry VIII have? What is the tallest mountain in the world? I can only imagine how easily the answer came to your head. It's ironic that we know about Renaissance plays, but we aren't all playwrights. We can recall Tudor history, but we aren't all historians. We can easily identify mountains, but we aren't all geologists. Here are a few more questions. What is the West Lothian question? Why do third parties suffer under our electoral system? How do parties decide on who their leader will be? I can only imagine how much harder you had to think. We aren't all politicians, but we are all citizens affected by the same political system. And yet our knowledge on it falls short, despite it perhaps being the topic that affects us the most. Through policy, party politics, and political preferences, our future is made. Over the past few years, interest in politics has been rising, especially in the younger generation. In 2017, the word youthquake was named Word of the Year by Oxford Dictionaries. It's defined as a significant political or social change arising from the influence of young people. However, as it turned out, the youthquake could be described as merely a tremor. It suggested that there was only a 47% turnout amongst 18 to 24-year-olds in the 2019 election. It's shocking to hear such a low turnout, especially with my generation being at the forefront of campaigns on political issues like the climate crisis, LGBTQ rights, and Black Lives Matter. But there is a big difference between wanting to change the world and knowing how to change the world. This is where political literacy comes into play, a skill based on developing political awareness and understanding. Political literacy isn't simply about knowing the facts, like the percentage of votes won by the Conservatives in the 2019 election, or how a bill is turned into an Act of Parliament, or even the characteristics of our Constitution. Because whilst that's all important knowledge, political literacy is also knowing how to do politics by understanding the information presented to you. It's used to make informed choices whilst also filtering fake news, strengthening your fundamental ideas, and being so sure in your beliefs that you can manage to convince others to feel the same way. It's clear to see that my generation have the passion, but opinions alone is not what politics is. Being able to apply knowledge of politics will enable proper participation, as well as making success more likely. Unfortunately, while citizenship has been a part of England's national curriculum since 2002, it was reported in the 2019 census by school workforce that only 1 in 7 schools have trained citizenship teachers, and when it is taught, it only makes up 1.5% of learning hours. Fortunately, the All-Party Parliamentary Group, who are also known as APPG, a cross-party group with members from both the Commons and the Lords, are working on increasing the level of political literacy in the country. They aim to provide resources and monitor existing requirements to teach citizenships in school to help create more well-rounded students. The fact that the co-chairs of the APPG are from opposing political parties, one being from the Conservative Party and the other from Labour, proves the importance of political literacy. In a time of polarisation, it's rare to see the different ends of the spectrum agree. The organisation is not only comprised of Parliament members, but also has stakeholders from civil society, like universities, and projects like Politica. Whilst the work of the APPG is compelling, if people are not willing to accept their help, it won't be worthwhile. It's not only that we gain as individuals, communities, and a country by enhancing political literacy, but it's also that we suffer from the absence of it. The less exposure you have to a spectrum of knowledge, the more likely you are to be stuck in an echo chamber. It's easy to be trapped there, especially with the way that society is set up. It's like the saying goes, birds of the same feather tend to flock together. Even when we try to expand our minds, for example by going on the internet, we have political adverts using algorithms to align their agenda. That's why informed opinions can only come about if the educational system allows for effective, unbiased teaching of government and politics. Escaping the echo chamber doesn't necessarily mean you have to change your views, but rather use the information learned as a tool to develop your ideas. Let's put this in a way that people may relate to. If all your life you watched the training sessions of one single football team, you'd be confident in their strength. You may even think that they're the best team around. However, it's not until you see how they play against others that you can actually see a holistic picture. There's two ways to approach it from there. You can either decide that you don't want to support them anymore and choose to support a different club, or you can see how the other teams play and use their tactics to strengthen your team's tactics. This is the same for political opinions. By subjecting yourself to other perspectives, you may become aware of your weaknesses. These might not have been obvious to you beforehand, but now put you in a position where you can aim to justify yourself and in turn strengthen your passion. Political literacy is what provides you with the tools on how to do politics the way I just stated. If you understand the information presented to you as a result of political literacy, you can make strategic decisions on how to advocate, refute, and adjust arguments in a clear and concise way. For those that claim they don't have a passion for politics, stating, "Oh, but politics is so boring," I want to implore them to consider why they believe that. For example, I find football completely and utterly uninteresting, but that's mostly because I don't understand what's happening. Maybe if I knew the tactics of the game, the weaknesses, the strengths of a team, then I wouldn't feel as confused and instead engage in conversations about it. It's easy to find something you don't understand boring. However, it's important to understand that politics isn't as generalized as my football analogy may make it seem. Unlike football, there's at least one aspect of politics that resonates with every person, whether that be political movements like Black Lives Matter or economic policies like tax. Politics isn't simply an academic subject with memorization for exams at its core. It helps you understand how to take part in political action, in essence cultivating a key part of who you are. We all have views we want heard and causes we want seen. However, advocating for your opinion without good political literacy is like speaking into a mic that isn't plugged in. You can hear what you're saying, but it'll be hard for you to be heard by others. English literacy isn't just reading other people's stories, but it's also writing your own. Political literacy isn't just learning other people's politics. It's also about learning your own.